aka QE2, or the securitizing the debt. Basically, he's going to be buying treasuries from Geithner, who has a strong dollar policy. And so Mr. Bernanke, who says on June 24th that he's going to keep interest rates extremely low for an extended period of time, which is not in support of the dollar, and now printing up paper in order to buy 2 to 10 year long debt is not supporting the dollar. And he's going to be working with someone who supposedly has a strong dollar policy, and together they're going to start fixing this economy because we're starting to slip back into a recession. Well, we never came out of the recession. It was a total joke. And, they can't print up jobs, so I guess it's time to start printing up money. I want to show you a few things here. The other day I was thinking about, I was looking here at my books that I've read, and I was thinking about what we've gone through and what we're headed towards. And, here's the coming economic collapse, Crash Proof, which is Peter Schiff's book, 2.0. These books I read back in 2003. This was like 06. The whole housing mess is in this book that it talked about. And other things that haven't happened yet, like the dollar bubble that this book talks about. How to profit from the coming real estate bust and the coming crash in the housing market. I believe these were both copyright 2003. Let me see if you can see the copyright here. Well, you're not going to be able to see it, but it's 2003. And the other one's either 03 or 04. And so, I knew that was going to be coming. But now, here we have How to Prosper During the Coming Bad Years in the 21st Century, Howard Ruff. So now we have the demise of the dollar, the coming collapse, and how to profit from it, the coming collapse in the dollar, and the dollar meltdown. These books here, what these books talk about still hasn't really come to fruition yet. And either, this Crash Proof by Peter Schiff hasn't either. So we have the quantitative easing happening now. And, so that's going to put a lot of pressure on the dollar. We're going to, ultimately the dollar is going to collapse. There's nothing that they can do to stop it. We can't stop the dollar from collapsing. We got, 40 million people on food stamps now that are going to be requesting money. They're going to have to print up money to solve the whole housing mess, which is years from being over. There's no possible way out of this. I mean, the jobs aren't coming back. We lost service sector jobs and the housing jobs. The housing, we don't need any more houses. We don't need those housing jobs, related jobs. We don't need the service sector jobs that were created because of so much borrowing, and everyone had money, everyone had service sector jobs. Well, we don't need those jobs anymore because everyone needs to start saving, and we need to go back to production. You can't fix the economy by borrowing and spending more money. We borrow and spend our way into this mess. You can't just borrow and spend more money in order to fix it. Anything that the government does is just sidestepping the inevitable, which is a total currency collapse. We're going to have that collapse. I hope everyone's starting to think about gold and silver. They're thinking about food supply and water and guns and ammo. I mean, that's where hopefully it doesn't happen, but you got to be prepared for anything that can come down, that could come down the pipe at you. There's no way out of this mess. All the production jobs, back in the 50s there were 27, I believe, companies that made TVs in this country. Now there's 0. They're all made in Asian countries. Now, everything's produced in other countries, and we've been borrowing money in order to consume all that stuff. We have this consumer economy. Well, the consumer economy can't continue anymore. We can't just keep consuming and borrowing money. And we have the interest rates right now are near 0. They can't stay there. The dollar will collapse. I mean, if we're going to have a dollar collapse, well, they have to raise the interest rates to support the dollar. And once they start to raise interest rates, right now I think the interest is about $20 billion a month. It's which is really low. It's been higher. It's been $30 billion a month in past years. It's like $20 billion a month in interest payments. So the interest rate is really low right now. So they're able to handle this debt. But once they raise the interest rates, which is going to happen, they don't just stay near zero forever. I mean, they have to raise the interest rates to support the dollar. No, I think maybe that China, they're not going to be lending us any more money unless we raise interest rates. So the Fed doesn't want to raise interest rates. They'll kill any type of recovery we could have. So they're going to start monetizing the debt and start printing up money. Buying our own debt because we can't sell it anymore to foreigners. So if we have to raise the interest rates in order to sell it to them, what happens if you raise the interest rates? The $300 billion a year in interest on our $13.3 trillion debt, it starts moving up. $400, $500, $600 trillion in interest. Then we just have to print up more money. So it's going to be a total printing game, and it doesn't look good at this point. I mean, I'm so serious about the preparing for the worst. Hopefully it doesn't happen, but we just have to start preparing for the worst, and just hope for the best. But you got to prepare.